with you and show you step by step how to make insane amounts of money from email marketing. So let's get started.
Welcome to the email marketing playbook for ecom, info product, and course creators. So if you sell products online, whether it's e-commerce, whether it's courses, info products, subscriptions, etc., you're going to love this training. Now, this training is not going to be about improving your click-through rates or whatnot, because I want this to be something that is actually a strategic profit driver for your business. Now, this is a training that I've been looking to create for a while now, because there's a lot of trainings out there that show you how to improve your click-through rates, how to improve your open rates. And now, while those metrics do matter, the most important thing that actually, like your chief marketing officer, your chief financial officer, the CEO, people who do email at a very high level that have a lot of stakeholders to make happy, they focus on things like rev per contact, rev per blast, things that actually improve the bottom line of the business when it comes to your email channel. So that's what I'm going to show you today. So first, I'm going to walk you through the number one email model that your email strategy must follow. After that, we'll get into Deliverability 101. Because if you skip deliverability, you might as well skip everything else. Because while a lot of brands, again, will focus on producing really pretty graphics, having really good copy in their emails, but if you put all that time and energy, and whether you're paying a freelancer or you're paying an agency or you're paying someone full-time in-house to do those things, but your emails aren't even landing in the main inbox and they're going to the promos tab, spam, etc., you're literally just throwing money in the freaking fire pit by doing that. So deliverability first, all the other stuff second. Now, after we get into that, we'll go into the three main flows that you want to set up. You want to make sure you have these set up at all times and that they're performing well at KPI. So I'll walk you through what those three flows are, how to set them up, and more importantly, how to actually do so in a way that will achieve KPI and make sense for your business. And then after that, we'll get into how to set up a campaign calendar, how to actually take a marketing strategy approach with your email. So it's not like you're just writing emails on the fly to send out to the list, trying to make money. You're actually taking a marketing strategy approach. You're laying out the calendar throughout the year. You're getting very specific into what campaigns you're going to do when, factoring in holidays and whatnot, world events, and so on. And then the last piece, what I just glimpsed at just a second ago, is the actual financial piece of your email program. So we'll get into the finance piece, profits, forecasting revenue, taking offers and forecasting revenue, showing things that, whether it's the CEO or your C-suite or your investors, things that they want to see that makes it seem like, okay, like this money that we're actually putting into email, here's what the results are going to be. Now, firstly, who am I? I'm Matt Hummel. I run an email SMS agency for ecom and info product businesses. Prior to that, I was a freelance direct response copywriter. I've written copy, built funnels, managed email lists, and the finance, day trading / stock and subscriptions niche. For info products, I've done it in mental health and the e-commerce niche. And over the last 8 months alone, I've helped clients do up to 59% of store-wide revenue, specifically through their Klaviyo accounts. And I've personally generated over $5 million in email revenue. Now, first, the number one email strategy that you should follow, and this is what we propose with our clients, is what we call the AAA method, which stands for acquisition, ascension, and automation. Now, these three things here, this is why it's a Venn diagram and not a flow chart, is because we want to have the intersection of all these different parts. And right when you have the intersection of these three parts, all simultaneously, that's when you're going to see the most success out of your email strategy. So here's what it looks like. Acquisition. Acquisition really just refers to how you're adding new names to your list. Because when it comes to your flows, whether it's your welcome series, new customer flow, abandoned cart, any type of automation or flow that you have set up, they're only going to work and be as valuable and as profitable as the number of people that are actually going through those flows to begin with. So here we're looking at how we're actually adding new names and pushing people through the flows. And now, when you have a good acquisition strategy in place, this also allows you to manage churn, because when you're sending out offers to people, even if they're really good, really segmented, really relevant offers that your list does enjoy, people are still going to unsubscribe. That's just what happens. So having a good acquisition strategy in place is what allows you to manage churn. In addition to that too, it also allows you to achieve better list growth. And then as your list grows, so should your revenue growth, because a bigger list means a bigger audience to sell to, which means more offers in front of more people, which generally means more money. So always, always, always start with having a good acquisition strategy in place for your email program. The next piece, ascension. Here we're looking at growing email revenue as more names come in and raising the lifetime value of those who have already joined our list. So what we're doing here is we're taking subscribers who essentially are worth nothing. They've given us no money, and we're turning those subscribers into paying customers. So from $0 to whatever you get them to buy on the front end. Maybe it's just a $9 offer, free plus shipping. Maybe you're sending them a $17 product. Maybe it's an info product, whatever, front end course, whatever. And then next, after you have people who've already given you money, aka current customers, we're taking those current customers and bringing them into repeat customers. So from some money to a lot more money. And again, this happens through a mix between your flows that you already have automated, as well as the manual campaigns that you're sending ongoing. And then the last piece, number 3, really what we're doing here is we're just squeezing more juice with less work. Because if you're relying on campaigns mostly, campaigns generally take the manual work. You have to keep setting those up each time you're sending a new campaign to your list. Yes, you can repurpose old campaigns and kind of repurpose them, send them again. But again, you still have to do that work versus with an automation, you essentially set it up once and then you're good to go. And so here, actually, with this piece, we get a little bit more sophisticated with our automations. So beyond just the core flows, the 3 flows that you'll learn in just a moment here, we look at things like data-driven upsells and cross-sells, and really ways where we leverage consumer data and we come up with more strategic automations that really just allow us to squeeze more juice and squeeze more profits out of our email subscribers. And you'll see when you look at the big picture, this actually does make a big difference. All right, so here's Deliverability 101. Here's the 4 things I'm going to walk you through in this section. 1 is to know what the deliverability pecking order is. 2, get tested. Know what your deliverability looks like right now. 3, if you're not doing well, you find out after testing your deliverability that it's not that good, I'll give you a few pointers as to how you can fix it. And then 4, send stuff that is relevant and make sure you're segmenting your list. Now, the first part, the deliverability pecking order. Here's how it goes. First thing, number 1 most important thing is your domain reputation score. Next thing would be the from name. After that, we get into the domain alias, which is essentially, as you can see here, like your info at. So if my domain is matthummel.com, then I can have an alias of info@matthummel.com, matt@matthummel.com, support@matthummel.com, so on and so forth. So these are things actually where you'll notice a deliverability change based on what you put before that actual domain, that sending domain itself. Next would be the subject line. After that, you check the link text. And then lastly is the body copy. This is, your use of promo words, saying free, click here now, subscribe, like all those different things. Even having unsubscribe links in the footer of your emails. Those are things that basically signal to email programs, whether it's, Gmail, AOL, Yahoo, etc., that this email is probably a promotional email. First part with deliverability, get tested. You want to make sure that you're testing every single email before you click the send button and launch it to thousands of people, right? That seems logical, right? To understand how well this email is going to do before you just waste a send to your entire list. And now right here is by far the easiest and most predictable way that you can test your deliverability. So to do this, what you want to do is you want to go to Gmail and create a new Gmail address and then turn off the conversation view in your settings. Now, this next part, really important. Make sure that you never open an email in this new Gmail account that you just created. Because if you do this, then it's essentially opening/engaging with that email, and then it gets recognized by whoever the sender provider is, Gmail in this case, and your deliverability will be more optimized towards this new email address. So you're basically not getting a raw assessment because you're sending to an account that has already engaged with your stuff. Think of it like an Instagram engagement, social media. You like a post, you're probably going to see more of that post because the algorithm's going to show you more of that. It works the same way when it comes to email. So if you want a raw sample, make sure you never open this. Now, after you create this new email account, what you're going to do is you're going to send a test email. Before you even send out your email to your entire list, you're going to send a test to this new Gmail address. And then you're going to see where it lands. Does it land in the primary inbox? Does it land in promo tab? Does it land in spam, etc.? And then now, based on the pecking order that we just went through, you can do things like changing the from name, changing the subject line, changing the promo words, etc. Even changing the alias to see if you can kind of get it from wherever it landed, or yeah, if it landed in promo tab or spam or whatever where you don't want it, seeing what variables you can change to get it back into the primary inbox. Now, the next piece about getting tested. Here is how you want to check the hands down the most important thing, which is your domain reputation score. So what you'll do is you'll go to postmaster.google.com. And this is basically Google telling you what they think about you. So if you go to postmaster.google.com and you put in your domain, they're going to tell you right away what your domain reputation looks like. And in most cases, medium to high, you're in the clear. But if you're dipping below medium, then that means your reputation isn't that good. And that's definitely going to be something that's going to impact your sender reputation and your deliverability for sure. Now, another test to run is you can use this tool or this website called MailGenius. So MailGenius, what they will do is they will give you a test email address to send to, and they'll basically tell you what is wrong with your email, if anything at all. They'll also tell you if you're on any blacklist for spam, etc. And so as you can see kind of below here, it says send an email to the testing address below. What you'll do is you'll just copy that email address specifically, and then you'll send whatever email you're about to send, your promotional email in this case, to that email address. And then that's going to basically monitor, the text you have. It's going to monitor your sender's reputation score. It's going to see if your domain's on any blacklist. It's going to give you the whole picture. So really valuable tool. Now, all this said, if you run these tests and you see that your domain reputation score isn't great, which fix this. Like before you do anything, just please like fix your freaking domain reputation score. Make sure that when you're sending out emails, like you're actually sending it out with something that is going to land in the primary inbox. Otherwise, just you're wasting your money and your time and your energy on email. So domain reputation score isn't great. Use a warm-up tool. Two that I recommend are Mailwarm and Inboxing. So the way these Mailwarm or these warm-up tools work is essentially when you sign up for an account for them, they will connect to your email inbox. And what they'll do is they'll send emails on your behalf, and then they'll reply to them as well. So what this does is it basically shows Google that people are actually engaging with your email and are having good, positive, real conversations with you, which basically signals to them like, okay, this person's a good sender. Like they're actually keeping people engaging with their platform, right? Again, I always like to connect this to social media. It's like if you post on Instagram and Instagram shows that, hey, like these people's followers are liking this post or commenting on it, they're leading to direct messages, they're saving it, they're sharing it. Like people are literally staying on the platform of Instagram much, much longer when this person is posting. Then basically they're going to be like, okay, like, yeah, we're going to improve their engagement, we're going to optimize for them. It's the same thing for Google. So when people are interacting with your emails like this, over time, it increases your domain reputation score. So if you find that your domain reputation score isn't good, get one of these tools. It will help you. Now, last piece, this is basically domain reputation score, etc. aside, is segmentation and relevance. So basically here, we want to make sure we're sending stuff to people who actually want to see it, right? So to use the Instagram philosophy again, if you have a group of followers that like weight loss ideas, and then all of a sudden you just post something that's not even correlated to that at all, it's not going to really be that relevant. People aren't really going to engage with it. So here, segment based on interest, et cetera, et cetera. Now, quick rule of thumb, what I like to do is set up a list of different list segments. So I have 90-day engagers. These are people who have opened or clicked a link in the last 90 days or less. I set up 60-day engagers, and then I set up 30-day engagers. And then lastly, I'll create another segment for 180-day engagers. These are people who have opened or clicked a link in the last 180 days. Now, having this separate group of 180-day engagers, this isn't going to be your regular daily mailing list. Like this is going to be things for people who are essentially really unengaged, but you still want to have this file because there are win back opportunities here. So this could be things like going out of business sales or Black Friday, Cyber Monday, something that is like an incredible offer that will basically pull these people back into your file. And then once you do that, this is something that's going to eventually move them right back into the 90-day, 60-day, 30-day engager type of segment. Now, as far as open rates, I like to shoot for 15 to 20% open rates depending on the list size. So dipping below 15% on average technically means you're playing with fire. And what you'll do here is look at things both weekly, monthly, and I didn't write down yearly, but yearly as well. And the reason for this is that, let's say historically over the past year, you've been at a consistent 20% open rate. So your average open rate over the last year is 20% or more. But over the last, 1 to 4 weeks, you've dipped close to 15% or below. This could happen because maybe in like the last 1 or 2 weeks, you actually had like 4% open rates or something, like something wild that just tanked your freaking open rates. Now, if you look at things consistently over a macro picture, your yearly open rate average still might appear a little bit higher, but little do you know, if you're not looking at the micro picture, you have a huge fire that could essentially blow up in your face if you don't do something about it pretty quickly. So look at your historical open rates, and then also make sure that you're tracking things on a more micro level as well, in the 1 to 4 week range. So Deliverability 101 summarized. First thing, get tested. What isn't tested can't be fixed. Peter Drucker said, what isn't measured can't be managed. So if you want to manage your deliverability, the first thing is to be able to test it so then you can measure where you're at and then make the changes that you need to make accordingly. Next, use the deliverability pecking order. So once you get tested, you know your domain reputation score. Now you can create that second Gmail account address and then send to that account and then understand or use the pecking order to basically change little variables here and there to understand what you can do to get that email into the primary inbox. Now, if your domain reputation score isn't good, use a warm-up tool like Inboxy, Mailwarm, etc. to bump up that reputation score. Now, there's a bunch of different ways that you can. Sometimes you might just have to create a new domain or something like that and warm that up and then eventually transfer that over. But this isn't a deliverability masterclass, so I'll get into that at another time. But for starters, if you're looking to focus on deliverability initially, these are the steps that I would do. And then lastly, create your segments, keep open rates above 15% average. All right, so now the fun stuff. These are the 3 core flows that I'll walk you through how to set up, and more importantly, just how to set it up the right way, because a lot of brands set these up in ways that don't perform at good KPI. So I'll show you how to do it effectively. The 3 core flows are the welcome series, the new customer flow, and the abandoned cart flow. Now, first one, welcome series. There's 4 characteristics generally of high converting welcome flows. First, they're long, 21 plus days and a minimum of 10 total emails. 2, they mix between content and offers. Think of it like you're making a deposit versus a withdrawal in your banking account. If you constantly just make withdrawals, you're not building reciprocity with people who are essentially subscribers. They haven't given you money yet. So they're not going to be as likely to do so. So here I'll walk you through, how to do that effectively. And of course, we want to use case studies, proof, show that we're real. We've helped people just like them. 3, the welcome series get progressively higher and more aggressive with discounts and offers to quote unquote trip the wire and convert that subscriber into a paying customer. And then 4, they always have a call to action that drives traffic to somewhere, ideally the website, which is somewhere where they can make a purchase as well. Now, getting more specific here, purpose of the welcome series is that we want to take subscribers and we want to convert them into a customer, and if not, flip them back into lead nurture long term, and at least keep them somewhere within that 0 to 90-day engaged segment, where it's then we'll convert them through our ongoing campaigns at some point eventually. And the reason for this is that in any industry, approximately 10% of people are willing to buy now, buy today. 70% might buy in the next 30 to 60 to 90 days, right? So if they don't buy in the initial welcome series, maybe they will in the campaigns or other flows you have set up over the next 90 days while they're in that segment. And then 20% of that full picture, they'll never buy at all because they're either mistakes, they downloaded the wrong freebie, or maybe they just have a monogamous relationship with one of your competitors. And that's something that you can't really change. But either way, you want to be able to bring people in and convert those who you can with your welcome series. Now, I said the welcome series is 21 plus days, minimum of 10 total emails. I'm not going to show you all of these today because that would be its own separate training, but I'll walk you through the first four of them and then kind of give you the macro picture of numbers 5 through 20, whatever. So welcome email one, what we want to do here is we want to welcome them. We want to congratulate them. We want to deliver the thing that got them to opt into our list to begin with, the freebie, the coupon, the bait, and then we want to give them an offer. Now, this welcome email one will generate the highest return on investment for you if you do it the right way, which I'll show you. So welcome email one. First thing, establish credibility. So here's an example from the brand thesis. We've helped 500,000 plus people find the best nootropics for their unique brain chemistry. Credibility at the first step. Next, what they're doing, congratulating the subscriber on taking the first step. Think of it like framing in a sales call, right? You set the frame very early on in the call, and that dictates how that call is going to go the remainder of the relationship. It's the same thing in your welcome series. You establish that frame very early on. And what you're doing really is you're congratulating them on taking the first step towards getting their needs met, solving their problem, achieving a benefit, whatever. And we know through the commitment and consistency bias, if you don't know, Robert Cialdini's book, Influence, go read it. But basically, people tend to act like themselves. So when you congratulate them on taking the first step, you're basically reminding them that they're the kind of person that takes steps towards getting their needs met, which people who do that are also the same kind of people who buy your products to get their needs met. And I'll just give another example here. It's like in a sales call when you're like, once you're in the program, you'll see this, or yeah, and after you're in the program, you'll get this, right? That kind of language that shows, I guess this is going to happen. You're going to be making a decision and getting these results. Now, I just really want to emphasize on the frame part because very important right off the get-go. Now, next, we want to deliver the thing that they asked to get, whatever our freebie, our bait, whatever that was, because otherwise we're just going to seem like a scam. So deliver what they asked for, and then next, deliver an offer. So in this case, there's the credibility. We're congratulating them, delivering what they asked for, and then we're giving them the relevant offer as well, which if you click view my results, it brings you directly to the subscription page as well. Now, the next email in this series, welcome email number 2, here's where we want to build know and like. So essentially, we do business with people we know, like, and trust. Now, welcome email 1, people are ready to buy now. That's where we kind of convert them quickly. If they don't buy immediately, well, maybe they don't know, like, and trust us yet. So that's what we want to do through this next evolution of the welcome series. So welcome email 2 is where we help build that know and like factor. So here we're introducing, unique quality standards, pieces of social proof. We're including our brand story that helps them get to know us a little bit more, things of that nature. So the second welcome email, we want to deliver, and I say a condensed version of our brand story, not the long one. See, many brands will make this mistake of taking this super verbose long brand story, one that's much more appropriate on the About Us page of their website, and they paste it in their email, but people don't read that whole thing, right? We want to bring them back to the website where they can make a purchase. So that's why we deliver a condensed version. As we can see right here, the brand does this right here. And now, really, to create your own condensed version of your brand story, I recommend 3 to 5 sentences or less. And usually what you can do is just acknowledge like who had the problem or what was the idea, and then what you learned from that problem, and then what unique action you took to solve it. So it's kind of like this. It's like, I always struggled with pain, or my relative friend always struggled with this pain, or we saw that this thing over here was a problem. And what we learned was this is why it's a problem. And so we took this unique angle or this unique approach or created this unique product in this unique way that solves that problem. Fast forward to today, here's what we do, right? And so after we deliver that really condensed after we deliver that really condensed brand story, we deliver the first call to action. And then after that, if they're not interested yet, we segue into our unique quality standards. So it's like, hey, here's who we are. Now you know us. Here's actually what makes us unique. Here's the benefits of working with us. And we see the benefit driven bullets, the designs, the icons, and then we deliver a second call to action, shop the luggage. And then I really like this at the end, including some type of risk reversal. So you could just say 100% satisfaction guaranteed, like with a banner or something. Or you could say, try one for 100 days. Take any away bag on your next trip, no strings attached. If you love it, perfect. It's guaranteed for life. So really short, brand story, unique quality standards, another call to action, and then the risk reversal. You can try it, no risk. Really good way to build reciprocity, know, like, and trust within the second email. Now, welcome series email 3. Here, we built know and like, we built that know and like factor in the previous email. Now we want to build trust on top of that. So here we're including more social proof. We'll include, press, media features, case studies, testimonials, whatever type of assets, marketing assets that you do have. Here's where you want to essentially include those in this email here at this stage of the sales process of the subscriber's customer journey. So here's an example. We have a headline that emphasizes the results, like the reviews are in. Basically, what we want is we want this first piece to symbolize, what the email is going to be about. Like this whole email here, it's all about proof. Don't try and be confusing or intriguing. Just it's proof, okay? Like here's obvious proof. So headline, make it about proof. Then we have a hook right after that. We work hard to deliver the highest quality products at the best possible prices, but don't just take our word for it. So the hook really is just a segue from your headline into the main body of your email. It's basically like, the headline emphasizes results, and then whatever bridge or whatever, I say hook, but you just want to bridge into those testimonials. Then we have the first call to action, and then we have more testimonials, and then we have a second call to action. And then I like this last element here with the founder, where we say our mission is to essentially provide quality goods and services for our members at the lowest prices on the internet. A lot of things that you can do here is maybe make a push to social media, or again, you could use like something with the About Us page of the website, something about the founder or the brand story, another condensed version, and then take them to the About Us page. Or you can just include more testimonials and then another section to basically bring them, maybe you bring them to a proof page on your website, something like that. So you have the testimonials, call to action with the shop or whatever the product is, and then you use the last section as one final piece of proof, and then you bring them to like a proof or reviews page that you do have on your website. Whatever it is, you just want to make sure you fulfill your purpose of including a lot of proof in building credibility and establishing trust within this third welcome email. Now with the fourth one, here is where we essentially want to re-engage our subscribers, because at this point, if they haven't purchased yet, and again, I forgot to mention, but welcome email 1, 2, and 3, like we're sending these and they stay in the flow with the expectation that they haven't purchased yet. And so we set it up in our email service provider that once they do purchase, they're out of the flow. So at this point, if we're at welcome email 4 and they haven't purchased yet, we want to do something that can re-engage them, because we notice after they've received 3 emails already and haven't purchased, usually this is when engagement starts to decline a lot more. So we've noticed with having just other types of emails, they get less engagement. So that's why we want to actually strategically include a high engagement email here. And then the purpose of this, we engage them, and then it allows us to segment them and deliver them more targeted offers. So I'll show you what that looks like. So here, like I said, usually when engagement drops, we want to drive engagement, get the click, generate responses, and then we segment the subscriber into some other automation or sequence that's more relevant to what they want. So here you can say, hey, agency, that's us. Quick question, which category below are you most interested in? Please click your answer and I'll review my top recommendation for each. Whey protein, pre-workouts, fat loss, BCAAs, mass gainers. Click your answer now. Now, for some of the OGs here, you may have heard of Dean Jackson's 9-word email, where there's actually like an email that sold a $250,000 yacht with one freaking email. That was one sentence. It was like, hey, name, are you still interested in a yacht? Question mark. The purpose of this one sentence email is actually just to re-engage dead leads. So usually you'll notice, even if you're in B2B or something with leads, it's like, hey, name, are you still interested in thing, whatever they requested initially? Hey, you still interested in this? So it generates a lot of responses here. We're just using it in a more product-based approach. And based on what they click, what they show us they're interested in, we can now send them more relevant offers based on what they just showed us they were interested in. So like, for instance, if they clicked whey protein here, now they go into a whey protein interest, and then we'll give them more offers that vary between content and offers based on that specific topic, the whey protein. And here, again, I'm not going to show you all these, but I will kind of give you the big idea that I just described a little bit, is after they tell us what they want, we want to mix between content and offers based on what they want. That way we're delivering a sniper approach to convert them and trip the wire much more quickly. So Here, we could use a content article and then have the offer in the PS section. So maybe the content article is a blog article, or it could just be a webinar. It could be one of your YouTube videos, something like that, and then we offer them. Include urgency, things like that to trip the wire, and then rinse, repeat. So one thing I like to acknowledge here too is, if you know Jeff Walker, you've studied his stuff. He talks about, pre-sale content before launching a product. So the pre-sale content is basically strategic content pieces that educate you about this problem and like how you can solve it, and essentially like answers your questions and objections. And then after, it's like, hey, you learned about this thing, that we're going to be launching this offer or whatever, and here's the offer after we've already pre-sold you with previous content. And after, if you see in their emails, or if you see like in the CRM, if they open or click if they open one of the emails or click one of the links, you can set it up so you immediately send them an offer after that. So that's something to be cognizant of as well. If you send them something that seems like they're interested in, and then you see that they open it, great. Now you know they're actually interested because they opened the email about that stuff. They just didn't buy. I have two specific examples here. Where was it? Here we go. This one. This is actually my full welcome series Bible, which I'll link a free version of it in the description for you below. But here's like a live walkthrough of what this looks like, right? So we'll take the brand Umzu, and you'll see here, new email, blog post, 5 free gut health hacks. An estimated 11% of people worldwide suffers from this problem. Crazy, right? Luckily, you don't have to deal with that. We show you how you can essentially solve this pain right here. Continue reading, and you go to a blog article. And one important thing too is when you do deliver these content articles, it converts best when you follow a problem solution email format. So if you know the form PAS, problem, agitate, solution, usually you do that to link people to a product or something. Like it's actually designed to sell things to people, but you can use it the same way when it comes to your content as well, because that's going to drive more people to the actual content. That's going to drive higher clicks. And then in addition to that, it's also kind of pre-selling them, because when you use that format going into a content form of email, you're basically saying like, here's this problem, and then you dig into their pains a little bit, but here's how you can solve that problem too. So it's like this, hey, here's this problem you're probably dealing with, but actually like we're going to help you solve that problem right now for free with this new article. So you're also building reciprocity too. So you're kind of digging into their pain with the problem, agitate, solution, but you're also building reciprocity at the same time, because you're essentially helping them for free, right? It's not like, hey, here's this problem, you can solve it by buying from us. It's like, hey, here's this problem, you can solve it by reading this free article we just put out. And so you'll see in the next email immediately after that, right? So they get the content article first, and then after that, right, we've already revealed the problem, educate them. Now it's like we hit them with an offer, like with that freaking sniper approach. Experience the relief of that thing that we literally just gave you nightmares about in the previous email, right? Are you still feeling this way? Yeah, you probably are, because you didn't purchase recently, right? And our product's the thing that's going to help you the most, right? So we deliver them the content piece, and then we deliver them the offer the next day afterwards. Now, when it comes to after this, like you can get super creative with how you deploy these things, getting more aggressive with the types of offers that you include as well. When you vary between content and then offers, get more aggressive with what the actual offer itself is. It could be like a free gift with their purchase. It could just be getting more aggressive with the discounts. You could even show them reviews and stuff where like you're unboxing videos, where you're unboxing the product itself. And you could be free plus shipping. Again, you just want to make sure you're using things that are actually going to sell as well, right? Like you're still using testimonials, social proof, user generated content, etc., that you can continually keep people engaged throughout this sequence. So this isn't like permission to just keep pounding them with offers. You can do that, but make sure you're using engaging elements too, and you're following email best practices based on high performing emails as well. All right, so the next high performing flow that you want to set up is the new customer flow. Now, here is why this is very important. According to Calavio Analytics, acquiring a new customer is 5 to 25 times more expensive than keeping an existing customer, right? Because you probably already spent the ads or paid the affiliate to get that customer to begin with. So now it's pretty much a straight profit margins, et cetera, aside when you're using that same customer. And in addition to that, post-purchase messaging sees a 217% higher open rate and over a 500% higher click rate. But even more surprising, it has a 90% higher revenue per recipient than your average email campaign does. So dialing in your new customer flow is extraordinarily profitable for you. Now, when it comes to the new customer flow, here's 4 characteristics of high converting ones. One, resell them, have excitement. Like, what do trained sales reps do when they close someone into a program or get someone to buy a service, right? They say, like, they're not just saying, like, all right, cool, like, pleasure doing business with you in a very monotonous way. No, like, they resell them, like, awesome, you're gonna freaking crush it. Like, this is amazing, congrats. Like, make them feel excited so that inertia brings them into the program and then they actually like get results. Make them feel excited on this new venture, this new journey. It's the same thing with your email subscribers. Remind them that the decision was brilliant that they purchased and that they're going to get results. In addition to that, make sure that they actually use the product and get value from it. Use blog articles, use FAQs, use informational videos, things that help them basically enjoy their product, get a lot of value out of it. Something that will create a very good customer experience and makes them feel like their money that they just spent with you is actually worth it, right? So when you help them get results with the thing that they just bought or get what they were expecting from their purchase, and you kind of walk them through the best ways to do that, ensure that they do, it shows that you actually give a shit about helping them. And then that creates a better customer experience. And then not only that, if they it basically creates a frame where they're like, wow, I spent $50 with you and then you helped me do this. And like that $50 I spent with you was well worth it. So I can only imagine once I spend $100 with you, that's going to be worth it too. I'm going to get even more value. And then $200 and then $300. So here you're really ascending your customers up that value chain. In addition to that, we want to make sure we're extracting reviews and we're also, again, monetizing them again. Offer congruent upsells and unique customer only discounts, exclusive things that only your VIP customers get. That's going to actually help them get even more value, right? So here you're really raising that lever of lifetime value and profitability through your email channel by doing this. All right. So additional notes too. When it comes to the new customer flow, we always like to say the real sale begins after they buy. We call it tremendous onboarding. So if nothing else, just make sure that the customer actually uses the product and that they get value from it. Give directions, FAQ, etc. Push for testimonials. Now, this first customer email, what we want to do here is we want to create an intimate connection and actually show like personality, like, hey, we're not just a faceless brand you just bought from, like we're real people here to help you. And we're really trying to establish that long-term business relationship. So use useful and detailed information about the product, show them what they're going to get from their shipments. Like if you notice, if you buy things from Amazon, like great customer experience. It's like, hey, we got your order. Hey, your order was actually like processed and it's going through the shipping process right now. And then, hey, like, boom, your order has actually been shipped. It should be there in like 2 to 3 days. And then, boom, like, hey, once it arrives, like, hey, check the front door. Your package should be there. That sort of thing. So really, you're walking them through the process and making it really beneficial for them. So, and here's an example of that new customer email number one. Look at this, like celebratory. It's fun, right? Like, hey, name so and so, founder of this brand. I gotta say, like, it was a bit quiet today in our warehouse until our after ship roared, right? This is e-commerce. After ships, like the order confirmation thing, software. But basically, it's like, hey, listen up, guys. We got a new email from you, right? And we have the confetti, the gift at the very top that just makes it look funny and exciting. And basically, you're creating this ambiance of like, yo, like we're rolling out the red carpet for you, and like we celebrated because you just bought from us, right? And then we also give a customer-only discount with a call to action at the end, because order confirmation emails are going to be the highest open email you'll ever get. This is also one where basically after somebody makes a decision with you, they're going to open up a majority of the emails that come directly after that. So we actually have 2 emails. We have one that's the order confirmation email that's set up initially through whatever your commerce platform is. In our case, we do it through Shopify. So we actually modified that one as well, which I'll show you at another time. But here is more so about the long-term relationship building here. But it's also important to notice that they're going to open this email Really likely too, because they just bought from you and they want to see, like, they're just human beings expect something next. Human beings are expecting something next because they just bought from you. The emails you get, they're probably going to think like it's related to what they just bought because it pretty much is. And that's what we're doing here, but we're also including an offer as well. So we'll see, it's very subtle. It's not in your face, like, hey, you just bought from us, but hey, buy from us again. It's really just, hey, like celebrating, creating a unique customer experience. And then we have a subtle call to action in the PS section at the very bottom here. So the framework is really celebratory, fun, make it unique, exciting, and then give them a unique customer only exclusive discount. And I like to do it in the PS section with this email. Now, like I said, next customer email or the next email in the new customer flow is like we want to make sure that they actually use the product and get value from it. That's what we want to do in this next email. So we could include like unboxing with a note, or we push them to our social channels to leverage other traffic sources and show like UGC, or we could even cross promote products as well. So here's an example here, right? We're strengthening that connection and that customer experience. We have a video of the product. This essentially builds anticipation and excitement and pretty much like resells them again. Like, yo, like your package is coming in the mail. It should be there in a few days. Here's what's going to be in your packet. So now you're building that anticipation. You're essentially reselling them on what they just bought. So now they're going to be even more excited and anticipatory to use the thing. And then we also give them a customer only discount as well, right? Because we are trying to get more value in a subtle way. So use an upsell or some type of delivery as like a favor instead of a sell. So basically the frame is like, this discount is a favor for them. We're not like selling them again. It's basically like, oh yeah, just like, since we wanted to help you out, we went ahead and did this for you as well. Now, one note is if you don't have a video, you can also use blogs or social media videos, user generated content, and link to social media channels or things like that to cross promote. Whatever you do, just make sure you have things like this to put in this email because that's what's going to make it really profitable for you. So here we can see an example like, hi Matt, I forgot to send you this yesterday, but I recorded a personalized message for you. It includes me unboxing your Cow Cow Bliss box, quick demo of how to get the most out of it, and of course, me thanking you. Watch my personalized video for you here. And then PS, don't forget. So there's the video. PS, don't forget, now that you're a customer, you've earned an exclusive discount for 20% off. Just use this code within the next 20 days to save. By the way, here's some favorites most customers use their code on. Now, next email, new customer email number 3. Here we like to do a consumption or what to expect kind of email. So really what we're doing is we like to do this thing like, check the front door. And this, you want to make sure this is kind of integrated and factors in what your ordinary shipping and handling process is like for the products that they bought. So if you're a drop shipping brand with different suppliers, you want to be very mindful of what it's like working with these different vendors and suppliers. Or if you have your own warehouse with a very standardized shipping process, shipping and handling process across all products, you could probably keep it in the same flow. But either way, you just want to make sure that this is very tailored to what the customer just bought themselves and it's relevant to them. So whether you use, Klaviyo or Shopify native features, again, like we want to still rebuild the excitement and give them encouragement because we don't want to be that person that only talks to the customer when they buy and then when we ask for a review, right? We want to basically hold their hand throughout the whole process until they're extremely thrilled about their purchase and get a ton of value because then that's how you create customers for life throughout your new customer flow. And that's how you increase the lifetime value and create repeat purchasers. And so actually I have an example that I didn't include right here. I just had to hunt a little bit, but it's like, hey, like check your front door today. So that's the subject line. Check your front door question mark. It says do not fulfill because this is a test for this email. But basically, it's funny. It has brand logos. It has boxes. It's basically like, hey, like, did your front door look like this today, sort of thing. And so you give them, an offer, like bring them to articles or whatever of how they can actually use the product, that sort of thing. And you're being fun, you're being playful, you're being excited, and kind of the comical way of having the boxes with your own logo on the thing like that, including that in the email, just kind of like, oh wow, like my package should be here today. Oh, and here's how I can use it. You have these articles showing me how to do so. And new customer flow number 4, We vary between what order to actually send these things in, but it's most important just to know like these are the exact elements that you want to include. So we want to have like user generated content. We want to hold their hand through the process, what to expect, how to use the product, how to get value out of it, that sort of thing. And here's just like another example of what you could do when it comes to including like links and stuff to articles, or even just you don't even have to have blog articles. You could actually have engaged emails that have live directions in them as well. So for example, here in our new customer number 4, we have a title that illustrates the benefit. It educates them, like how to get the most out of your perfume, et cetera, et cetera. Tip 1, do this. Tip 2, do this. You could also include the actual takeaways. You can link to helpful pieces of info, blogs, video tutorials on YouTube, customer videos, user-generated content. Basically, what you just want to do is just ask yourself, does this help me use the product and get value from it? Is it simple? Like, are you not showing me how to use the product in a way that sounds like an article that I got off of Google Scholar or something, like a PhD research paper? Like, is it very simple to the point and very consumable? You're making its ease of use sound like, a caveman could do it or an infant could like use this thing. That's how simple you want to make it. Now, after this, after we've essentially shown them how to use the product and they've likely have received their product already, right? So we want to factor in our new customer flow email number 5 in terms of yes, like they got the product already. We've held their hand by giving them a lot of information on how they can use it. We resold them. We basically went through that process of doing a really good job of just making sure that they felt onboarded and used the product and actually got results with the product, right? Whatever that timeline is, factor in kind of what the product cycle is when they might have to reorder the product or anything like that. Your specific product and what the consumer, the not the consumer journey, the ideal consumer journey looks like, right? Then factor in like, hey, so what did you think about it? Here we want to get reviews from them because that's stuff that we can again leverage in our other marketing channels as well. So bunch of different things you can use, whether it's Luke's, whether it's Yotpo, whether it's Okendo, Stamp.io. We just want to make sure we have some type of review software that allows people to take reviews. And factors of really good emails like this is they're personalized at both the name and the product level. So it's not just like, hey, customer, you bought from us. It's like, hey, Matt, you purchased our whey protein, personalized at the name level and personalized at the from level. And it's easy. Like, don't walk them through some ridiculous review process. Like, make it so easy for them to leave a review because that's all you want here. And if you want, you could make it incentivizing. Like, if you leave us a review, we'll give you this, or make it like polarizing and funny. I've seen some direct responsey brands or whatever have a ton of swear words and stuff, and it's actually like really funny that you just want to leave the review because they like made you giggle in their email. All right, now this next piece, this is an advanced new customer flow tip that I wanted to include that really just helps manage the customer relationship much better. So what you can do, what you can set up in your ESP, we do this in Klaviyo, is based on the review, you can send people offers specifically. So if somebody gives you a 5-star review, you can send them a bonus like, hey, thanks for your incredible review. Here's a unique offer, just as a way of us saying thank you. Or you can give out coupons based on not so great reviews like, hey, we're so sorry that this didn't work out for you, or we're so sorry that your experience wasn't what you expected. Think about it this way. Somebody who doesn't have a good experience and then you work with them to like try and make their experience good, like, hey, help us make it right. Now they're like, oh my God, like this brand literally went above and beyond just to ensure my 100% satisfaction, right? That's how you build customers for life. So that's the importance of basically leveraging, you know, um, what the person gave you for a review and then giving them unique offers based on their review. 5-star reviews, hey, here's a bonus. Not so great reviews, hey, what can we do to make sure that you are 100% completely satisfied? Now, the last piece, after you've taken care of all those, is our new customer flow number 6. And again, these could be much, much longer. These are just kind of the frameworks that we like to include when it comes to our new customer flows and basically what you could do across 6 total emails, though you can stretch these out much longer, include much more emails. These are the frameworks and elements you want to include in them. So new customer email number 6, here's where we look into data-driven upsell and cross-sell best practices. So what we do with these emails is we acknowledge past behaviors and interest. It's actually called predictive purchasing, which you can use through Shopify Analytics integrated with your Klaviyo account, or you could even just use Klaviyo Analytics as well, where whatever somebody bought, they were likely to buy this as well, and show like, hey, this pairs perfectly with this. And in addition to that, you also want to make it logical of why it pairs well with it. Because I mean, you are selling them something. You're not just saying, hey, it pairs well, like go buy it. No, you want to educate them on how specifically this product provides an added benefit or pairs well with their previous items. That should go without saying, but you need to just acknowledge that. So instead of just being like, hey, you just bought from us, go buy something else, we're leveraging data and providing a unique approach, a unique offer tailored to them specifically. And it's a very logical case as to why it is so beneficial for them to go buy this product as well as an upsell or cross sell, whatever. We can see from examples here, like, hey, since you ordered this, I thought you might want to check out this. 50% of our customers who buy them buy again in 30 days, which is actually true. Like predictive analytics showed us that, which was crazy. In addition to that, kind of like what we do with our welcome flow, where we get more aggressive with different offers and discounts and whatnot, here we can get kind of creative with like, what are the unique combinations that we can include in our new customer flow based on like customer data that makes us more likely to succeed. So here, give them a free thing that they bought with their purchase. So one thing you might notice too is when on the front end, people come in by buying one thing with one thing free, you can also see kind of like, okay, people who bought this also bought this too. So maybe you can give them more of something else with like a free gift, things like that, free gift with purchase. Or after that, maybe you show it to them one and they don't buy. You send them a follow up like, hey, just checking in on the free thing that you bought. Did you know it pairs well with this as well? Or you can do running low, here's a code to restock, or introduce subscribe and save offers, things of that nature. Whatever logically makes sense that people are most likely to purchase again based on where they're at in their consumer journey. Like get creative with leveraging those analytics and include those in your welcome series. One really good tool that I like to use is Lifetimely. It's a Shopify tool. And this essentially shows you product journeys, what people's first order, second order, third order looks like, and the likelihood that they're likely to buy the same product as well as other products and a list of other different things. So first order was this, second order was this. People who bought this also bought this as a second order. And then in addition to that too, just make sure like if you're in Klaviyo, HubSpot, etc., just go into the browse ideas portion of your account and just scroll and look through all the different unique combinations that you can do just to maximize the juice and the value that you're getting from your customers and how you can help them more. Now, when looking at the new customer flow, the bottom line, like here's the important stuff. Here's what the investors, the C-suite, what these people want to know is the bottom line of what it actually does for profitability in the business, right? So if, for instance, your average order value is, let's say, $80, and we take someone from one purchase to three purchases through good data-driven flows like I just shown you, that same average order value that was initially 80 eventually jumps to 240. Now is again automated, no extra work than what you initially set up to begin with, which means less labor costs. And if you're setting it up yourself, you're essentially saving more time, which is likely you saving money, right? Because your time has to be worth something. Plus, not only are you saving on labor and your own time, you're likely only paying for the ads once to get that second purchase. So minus your cost per acquisition or your retargeting ads that you might be running for websites, social engagement, etc., things of that nature. Now, here's an example right here, just to kind of break this down a bit more. So let's say across all advertising channels, influencer marketing, affiliates, etc., your cost per purchase is $20 on average. Factoring in other site traffic, other promos, etc. And your margins are 50% on average. So you have an $80 average order value. With that, your profit is $40, right? But then after ads, right, because it's a $20 CPA, $50 margin on the $80 profit, after ads, you're looking at a $20 profit off of getting purchases through ads. Now, think about it this way. Order one is $20 in profit. Now, look at it. If you rely on ads again to get those other purchases, orders number 2 and 3 with ads is right 20 plus 20 plus 20. So you're getting a $240 top line with the same average order value, yet you're only getting a $60 net profit, which is not that much, honestly, with a 25% margin. However, if you get orders number 2 and 3 without ads, factor in, you're getting $20 profit per purchase for that first order, right? It actually looks like this after the first purchase, right? So you get $20 profit and then $40 plus $40, right? Because if your same AOV is $80 and your margin is still 50%, you're not subtracting that 20 off of that purchase from the ads. So you're actually making double the profit, essentially, in this case. $40, $40. So all of a sudden, 240 top line now comes to $100 in net profit, a 42% margin. So you almost doubled your margins basically by having this. And now once you begin to do this at bigger volumes, right? I'm saying, 240 top line, but multiply that by 2.4 million, right? Now you're generating significantly more profit, right? 2.4 million instead of getting, what is it, $600,000? Do that right. So instead of getting like $600,000 off of 2.4 million gross revenue with that, you're now getting $1 million essentially instead. So you pretty much added an additional $400,000 just by having this flow in place in your business. Now, here's basically if you want to make the numbers seem a little bit more appealing too, the total profit actually, so your margin increased, your true margin, right? After ads, true margin. But the profit itself went from a $60 profit to a $100 profit, which is actually a 40% increase in profits. Wait, no. Wait, and that's actually wrong because it's not a 40% increase in profits. It's actually almost double, which I think 60, 40, we'll just say 80. I believe it's an 80% increase in profits. So at scale, 6 million to 10 million, you're adding an extra $4 million in net. So here, like this is why the new customer flow is so profitable for you. Now, the last flow that's really important would be your abandoned cart flow. Now, here's the 4 characteristics of a high converting abandoned cart flow. First is you have 3 within the first 24 hours, right? Like this person was hot. They were literally in your store at the cash register, ready to buy just whatever. Maybe they forgot their card and their car, something like that. And then when they went out to their car, it was getting towed by a tow truck. So they had to deal with that, and then they just never came back in the store, even though they really wanted to purchase. You don't know. Maybe I've actually personally have been ready to buy something like on my phone, by an email, got an email, clicked on a link, was ready to purchase something, and then my phone freaking died. And then I don't know actually if I bought the thing later on. Who knows? So really important here. But the most important things that you want to include in terms of the elements is, right, like we want to overcome objections. We want to show proof. And the things that the subscriber generally wants to know and feel more certain about is like, have others like me gotten results? I get that maybe others have gotten results, but are they like me too? So you want to include testimonials. They also want to know, risk reversal. Like, I'm not sure. Is there a guarantee? Can I try it risk free? Like, what happens if I buy this and I don't like it, or something happens when it's getting shipped to me or something? Am I covered? Right? So risk reversal. And then benefits. Is it really that good of a deal, or is it really that valuable? Kind of thing. Is it a good deal for the price? Is the product going to actually help me achieve these goals, overcome these problems, these challenges of mine? How good is the shipping? When will I receive my order? Like, can I get it tomorrow? Am I going to have to wait a month? What's the shipping process like? And then here, I always like to include, like, you can always contact customer support and just simply give us a call and we'll make it right. So you'll notice in some of these examples here, you'll always have like a part at the bottom, like, hey, like, if you have any questions, please reach out. You can call us at any time. This actually just, people won't even really email you or call you, but just having that there makes them feel like they can trust you, because if they do want to call you, like, they can. They probably never will, but just seeing that right there improves conversion significantly. You'll see. It's almost like having this in the email, having the little customer support thing in the email is pretty much the same exact thing as having like a guarantee on your sales page, if I were to kind of establish like what it does. In addition to that, we also have urgencies, timers. We incentivize completing the order. Out of stocks are common, right? Like, yeah, I mean, if you don't buy this thing now, you're going to miss out on the special opportunity, something like that. Leverage, urgency, scarcity, etc. And then in addition to that, as you get later on into your abandoned cart flow, you also want to include better offers or even downsell them to a payment plan. So it could be like, we don't want price to be why they don't buy, sort of thing. So maybe I think it's Klarna, Afterpay, ShopPay, like these companies will actually like give you insurance to offer these payment plans, right? Because that's essentially how they do work. It's insurance. So people can essentially get a quote unquote like kind of loan or whatever, or have a payment plan through these other providers like ShopPay, Klarna, Afterpay, and like you as the provider of the product are actually covered by these other payment plan providers. So really, really, really important that you're using these things in some way, because it's actually not really that big of a risk for you to offer payment plans to subscribers. With the abandoned cart flow, basically the main thing, if nothing else, we want to leverage the guarantees and things that we just looked at, such as, have people like me gotten results like this? Is there a guarantee? What is the shipping like? So on and so forth. Leverage those characteristics, and that's basically what you're doing, is overcoming those objections. As long as you do those specific things, your abandoned cart flow will convert. Now, with this first one that we send out, we've noticed with data, most people may send it, 15 minutes after. They might send it immediately after cart abandon, which is a huge mistake because the checkout process takes time. Some people might go an hour, some people might go a few hours. We've noticed the best conversion rates doing 45 minutes across the board. And we've tested an hour, we've tested 30 minutes, we've tested 20, a couple hours. 45 minutes is kind of that sweet spot, especially when you're doing it this way, where you're sending 3 in the first 24 hours. And so this first one really is just like, hey, did you forget this? Like, did you lose power or something? That sort of thing. Like, hope your phone didn't die. Like I was telling you about, like, did your phone die? So you're not really hard selling too much. It's kind of just like a quick nudge. Hey, like, hope everything's okay. But you still do want to include a lot of direct response elements and things that we talked about, overcoming those objections as well. But the way you show them is less hard selling and more so in a subtle way. It's kind of just like, hey, did you forget this? By the way, like, here's what others are saying, and if you have any questions, you can ask us. So here is an example. Let me move my camera here. It's basically like, hey, we have a benefit here. You're just a click away. Your self-care routine is just moments away from getting a huge upgrade, but you forgot to finish your order. Get back to it now so you can start enjoying all the benefits of cupping therapy. Again, like, we're not too pushy. Like, you're going to run out of time or it's expiring. It's just kind of like showing them, hey, here's the benefits. And, we still have your cart saved, but we're still finding a way to blend in those elements that overcome objections. So we have the benefits, we have testimonials, and then we also have a free shipping benefit as well. We have 60-day stress-free refunds, and also the questions, right? And as we mentioned earlier, this questions piece right here basically serves as like a money back guarantee on a sales page. And then we also do have it in the footer as well. Now with the second one, this comes 4 to 6 hours. And again, this is going out if they didn't buy from the previous email. So it's like, hey, just want to make sure you saw this, because it's kind of like following up with someone that's not answering you yet, whether it's via text message or call. Sometimes people just may delay opening the email or delay texting you back, that sort of thing. So it's kind of just sending them like a quick reminder. And the importance of doing it in this time frame is that you have basically a window of 24 hours after someone abandons the cart to pretty much capture them in that purchase window. After 24 hours, you essentially run out of time. Conversions decline significantly after that. So here, though, we do want to introduce a little bit of urgency while still also showing like, hey, it's risk-free. We're here to help if you have questions. So, hey, like, just making sure you saw this. You left a few items in your cart. However, inventory is limited. We can't guarantee that these things will be here forever, sort of thing. So you're still kind of like reminding them away, but you're also introducing away like, hey, just so you know, though, like, we can't hold these forever. So you do kind of have to act pretty soon. And then the next one, this is our last email that we have, abandoned cart number 3, to send within that window, that 24-hour window. So here, it's kind of like we're throwing the nuke a little bit. And here we want to usually offer a discount or free shipping or some type of unique incentive that they get when they complete their checkout. So here we're incentivizing completing their checkout. Now, with abandoned cart number 4, so you showed them that it's risk-free, you showed them the benefits, the testimonials, all of that, risk reversal, et cetera, et cetera. They still didn't buy and they didn't take you up on that discount. So now we kind of want to get a little bit more aggressive with the offer by offering a payment plan to still trip the wire. And really, like, this one is essentially like a buy now, pay later kind of email. So your subject line could be like, was it the price, or get product now, and just use like some type of dynamic data in the subject line, like get whatever the thing was in their cart, just pull one of them, and then pay later. And you can set up these payment plans through your store, through whether it's Shop Pay, Klarna, Afterpay, and integrate these directly within your email service provider as well. And even then, that's not a requirement, as long as it's just very obvious that you show people how to use it once they do go to your store and they do go through the buy process, whether you're taking them to a sales page or a product page, however you have that button. Just make sure that when you include this email, you're making it very simple as to how they can actually use the payment plan themselves. So we like to include visuals, show photos like, hey, if you click this link, like here's what you're going to see, here's what the button looks like, and here's basically what to do from there. Give them step-by-step instructions. That way, once they click the button, there's no guessing work needed. And most importantly here, you're not selling them the product, you're selling them the payment plan, and you want it to be short and to the point. Because one thing we've noticed too is when we lengthen this email and we still try and sell the items in their cart, one, the email is really, really long. And so by using like testimonials, risk reversal, information about products, etc., the email gets really long. And then we also don't do a good enough job of like selling the actual payment plan itself. And if we do, it's just the email is too long. So really understand the benefits of the payment plan itself, include really good visuals, and pretty much just show them how easy it is to use, how simple, show them that like it's real, like this isn't just some type of scam that you're trying to get them to go back to your store. And then basically the benefits of how it allows them to get what they initially wanted for super cheap and in a very easy way. So you're selling the payment plan here, not the product, and just keep it to that. And then lastly, your abandoned carts number 5 through 10. Now you don't need to have 10 total abandoned carts. I just put that down in terms of the variance and different types of emails you can have for different audiences, which I'll show you. So here, like what you can do is repurpose your welcome series emails and use different things like conditional formatting in your email service. So one thing to be cognizant of too, when you get to this point, is you can also optimize based on the customer journey and where they're at, whether or not they're someone who has bought from you already, or if it's somebody who's just a subscriber. And this is something you can do very early on. This is more of an advanced tactic that you can do in your abandoned cart sequence. But it's important to distinguish, if you want to get more advanced with this, the difference between your abandoned cart sequence for your customers and for those who haven't bought from you ever. So again, like you want to be nicer to your customers, less aggressive with people who have already purchased from you than you do with people who have never bought from you. And especially your VIPs. Like if somebody has bought from you multiple times, you could be a little bit more gentle with, hey, return to your cart or your items are going to disappear, sort of thing. Versus non-buyers, what you want to do with them pretty much is like get them to buy or unsubscribe because they're dead weight on your email list. And so another thing too is after you kind of factor in the customer journey, whether they're a VIP customer, whether they're a current customer, one-time purchaser, or just a general subscriber who is a complete non-buyer, you can also leverage conditional formatting based on the specific items that they have in their cart as well. So whether that's like a collections or it's a specific product, you can pull in through in Klaviyo, like if item is in the cart and product ID is this, then we could send them this email. And so here, kind of like what you do in your welcome series, when you segment them based on particular interests, you can also do those same things in your abandoned cart. So it's like, hey, like, you had this item in your cart. Instead, you can actually say like, here's how it works. Here's some of the benefits of this specific product that's still in their cart, kind of thing. And then in addition to that too, you can just continue to repurpose your welcome series stuff. And instead of like shop now, so here you can see 28,000 plus bullshit-free reviews and counting. We have testimonials, and instead of shop now, it's just return to cart, go to cart. So, promo campaigns, the moment you've probably all been waiting for. Now, these are extremely powerful. They also require a lot more novelty, and they take a lot more focus and horsepower to actually do so effectively. But I'll show you how to make this process much, much less daunting in this section of the training. And now, one thing to be mindful about as well is that when you send out promo campaigns, they actually go hand in hand to activate your flows. Because if someone clicks on a link in your email promo and maybe they add a product to cart, but then they don't buy, that triggers the abandoned cart. And the same thing is true for if you acquire a customer through an email promo, then now they go through your new customer flow, or if you have browse abandons, or if they buy a certain product and you have strategic upsell and cross-sell flow. So this is basically all part of the same system when it comes to your email strategy. Now, when it comes to your promo campaigns, here is how to easily create a high-performing email campaign structure, really to make it just less daunting and still get really great results. So first part, these are the 4 steps. First part, you want to create an archive of promo ideas. And this is something that you'll add to continuously. So it's basically just an idea bank that you'll store somewhere. And essentially how you can do this is one, like Google May sale campaign ideas or October email campaign ideas. Think about all the different months that there are throughout the year and just Google those ideas. And then now you kind of have a archive of different ideas that you can do each month throughout the remainder of the year. And as you do this year after year after year, you're going to build a big database or a big archive, a library of ideas and things that worked for you in the past that you can pull from. So when we get into leveraging data and stuff, we'll talk about basically that if you notice you did one campaign and, say it was like a campaign you did in the month of October and it just like didn't work, it was a bad idea or something like that. Now you know, like, okay, maybe we can replace this with something else as well. Now, the second part is mapping out your marketing calendar, your yearly marketing calendar, based on all these ideas that you have now gathered. So I'm actually just going to pull up a video that I recorded in like 40 seconds or less. It's literally, the video is, here's how to create a yearly email marketing calendar in 40 seconds or less, which will actually make this easier to explain. All right, so I had to pull this up on my IG and change the speakers. That way you'd probably be able to hear it. But the hook is, here's how to create an email marketing calendar in 40 seconds or less. All right. All right, so hopefully that made sense. But basically, when you're mapping out your yearly email marketing calendar, you want to zoom out, macro, full year, put in the holidays. That's the easiest way to basically fill in the puzzle piece of your yearly marketing calendar. And then you want to get micro specific for the next 2 to 3 months. That way you have a proven plan and it's less daunting, right? And you don't have to basically get super specific for the next 12 months. Just do it for the next 2 to 3 months. Make sure there's a gap between the different topics and offers. Now, try not to sell the same exact product back to back or super close because it's likely not going to be as fresh. There's not going to be as much novelty. Your list has likely seen it, and it's probably not going to convert as well. Now, I will give one caveat. What you can do here is sometimes if an offer is doing really well, what you can do is you can actually extend the offer. So if you plan to launch something for a certain period of time and you plan to close the sale at, let's just say midnight. Let's say I'm running a promotion right now and I plan the deadline to be like this upcoming Thursday at midnight. But then people are still buying it a ton and a ton and a ton while other things on my email calendar aren't working as well. I'll just say, hey, like we've extended the offer for a limited time. You're basically just relaunching it, but instead of saying we've opened it, you're saying we've extended it for this time. You know, our customer service email would not stop blowing up. Our inboxes were getting bombarded. The phones were flying off the hook with so many people. So many of our customers were upset that they didn't get in on this offer before the deadline. So we decided to extend it for a limited time. So now you have one more chance, but you need to act soon because we're about to close it again, right? Like that. And just let it go until revenue declines a bit on that offer. And then, yeah, there you go. Now, third piece here, be a marketer, obviously. Always be on the lookout for ideas, things happening in the news, things happening in your industry. Think about different ideas and topics and stuff that you can leverage as email campaigns themselves, whether it's something Elon Musk is doing or someone else. Look at things. Another thing too, besides the actual promotional ideas, is look at these things in terms of how you can actually deliver the campaigns themselves, the ideas of the campaign, which I'll show you in just a moment here. And again, once you start coming up with these ideas and stuff, these are things that you can add to your archive of promo ideas. Or better yet, you can add them to the archive of your promo ideas. But then if they're time sensitive, you can also just put them in your email marketing calendar, wherever you have that stored somewhere. Now, lastly, 4, know what offers work best for your list. Use proven email templates based on people who are actually really good at email. Study the brands in your niche that are doing really well with email. Study, other people that that manage those lists. Be studious of what's working and what the best of the best is doing in certain industries for specific audiences and whatnot. Some people I like to follow: Stephen Georgi, Justin Goff. You can go on their YouTube. Actually, we'll just do that right now. Whoops. Stephen Georgi email. And if we go to videos, right, like, oh crap, boom. Wow, this is a super backdoor way. Literally, like, he does tons of email training. Actually, now we're on YouTube. If you go to Justin's YouTube channel, how to write high converting email copy in less than 15 minutes. This is a video with Jared Harlan. Make sure to check that video out. Lots of other people that you can study. Stephen Georgi. These guys do tons of trainings on curiosity-based emails, so on and so forth. Another thing too is Chase Diamond. Get on his email list. Either way, study people, know what's working, be able to add this to your idea bank. Now, when it comes to the ideas archive, here's kind of a mock list that we have: new product launch, celebrities, influencer partnerships, discounts, promos, special offers, holidays, bundles. So here, like, we clearly just have a giant archive, and this is only just a small section of what we do have. And once you get better, you'll be able to kind of organize these things in terms of months that they might be most appropriate. And then if you don't have ideas categorized by months, you can also have a timeline specific, month specific, non-specific way, a month independent list of ideas and stuff that you can just kind of promote whenever. So it's like, hey, it's Halloween. The only idea we really have is like Columbus Day or Halloween sale. What are some other ideas that we can promote during this month? And then you kind of just input these ideas into your email marketing calendar, right? And here's kind of an example of your promo calendar, right? Of course, you want to look out yearly, but when you get more micro specific about the next 2 to 3 months, here's kind of what that can look like when you put in different ideas. Like, you organize the calendar, you input the ideas, you can put in, what that promo is going to be, who you're sending it to, that sort of thing. And here's kind of what it would look like. This is an Airtable, but however you map out your calendar, you can do it in Excel, you can do it in Google Sheets, you can do it in Asana marketing calendar. You can do it in an Outlook or a Gmail calendar, whatever works best for you. You just want to have a place that you go to and refer to have things organized and know this is what we're emailing. All right, so now parts 3 and 4 I put together because they're kind of the same thing to a certain degree. So one thing to be mindful of is, I'll actually just put this in stars. There is the promo idea, and then there is the delivery of that idea. So what I mean by that is like you could do a Halloween sale for the month of October, and Halloween is a promo idea, but then how are you going to actually deliver that idea itself? And that's where you go into specific email templates based on what works, testimonial emails, discount/unique offer emails, story emails, emotional stories, curiosity based emails, PS, problem, agitate, solution. You can use these to deliver education and value too, which we covered earlier when we're delivering blog articles, so on and so forth. So be studious in terms of what's working, and also be able to document like not only the promo ideas that work at specific times that your audience likes, but also what types of email creatives and ideas they respond to the best. Like, do they respond to testimonial based emails? Is it very short, like curiosity, get the click type of emails that work best with them? Or is it just project, problem, agitate, solution, that sort of thing? Even PWAT, this is actually Jared Harlan, that video I just showed you, which is problem, why it's a problem, agitate, and then T is the solution. So this won't be, it would be a separate training to go through a breakdown of all these emails and how to structure them. But basically when it comes to launching promo campaigns, the main thing that you want to remember is basically create an archive of the ideas. That way you aren't fumbling around trying to think of what to promote, because you just literally have a group of things that you can extract from. And then after that, map out, remember my video that I showed you, map out the marketing calendar yearly, macro, input the holidays, and then get a little bit more micro specific for the next 2 to 3 months, which would look more like this. So basically fill this out for the next 2 to 3 months, understanding, okay, here's what we're going to promote on this date. That way you're prepared in advance. And like that, yeah, it's going to take time, but having this framework, it just makes it really simple. All right, now the most important part, right, when it comes to actually how email marketing improves the bottom line, how to track it, how to take a chief financial officer and chief marketing officer approach to your email strategy in a way that gives you stuff that actually pleases your investors, your shareholders, the C-suite, whomever oversees the email program. All right, so here I'll walk you through the 4 steps of how we do this. I've had this one example here. Harvard Business School actually did a study where email marketing helps give a 95% increase in profitability based on the retention element of it. I'll drop a link to that video in the description, but that's basically a really good study just to kind of familiarize yourself with the actual operational piece of email marketing from a cost-effective standpoint. And we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier when talking about our new customer flows and basically factoring in margin, average order value, and then minus the ad spend, and how at scale the new customer flow can actually help you increase your profits by 80%, right? If you go from whatever, a $60 profit to a $100 profit, whatever the example was earlier. So I'll drop a link to the study in the video that I produced earlier just to kind of understand the picture. But so I'll drop a link to that video in the description as well as the study. And then we'll get into forecasting, how to actually do this. Then I'll show you the factors to consider when actually doing your revenue or profit analysis and you're actually in the forecasting process, and like what variables you need to consider to make this accurate and effective. And then I'll also walk you through like actually executing these ideas, like actually doing it live, and I'll give you a template that you can use as well. All right, so forecasting 101, just using basic business finance fundamentals here. Typically, revenue is forecasted over a 12-month period. And it can also be helpful to provide a top-line annual prediction for the next 3 years. Just looking at your cyclical growth of your company and what you're expected to grow based on investments, et cetera, et cetera. But just remember that the further out you put that forecast, the more uncertain it might be. So when it comes to getting a little bit more specific for your email calendar, generally it's just best to do it 1 year in advance. So the importance of this is because obviously we want to forecast our revenue for the company because we want to achieve profitable year-over-year growth, right? That's why we do this. And then when you factor in how much you're investing into your email program, as well as the people that you're hiring on the email team or any external agencies that you're using, you want to be able to see kind of where that dollar is going and then how it's helping you achieve your company's overarching long-term goals. So to walk you through how we do this, first thing we want to ask is, what was last year's revenue? Email revenue and company-wide revenue. And then we want to factor in what are our actual goals for the company, because I'd imagine people in positions of decision making, people of power who run the company, obviously have goals for the company. So we want to know how we're expected to actually grow. So when you factor in what are the actual goals of the company, let's just draw up an example here. So let's say last year we did 50 million in revenue, and 20% of that came from email specifically. And then this year we want to grow at a 15% run rate. So that's actually pretty standard. I think average is between 15% to 45% for companies, unless you're super small, like I think less than 7 figures or less than 2 million, or even in the multi 6 figure range. You definitely grow much, much more than that. But let's just factor in kind of average numbers here. So let's say this year we want to grow 15%. So that would be 7.5 million, which would bring us from 50 million annually to 57.5 million annually. But we invested more into an email agency or some type of email marketing director, or insert whatever strategic talent or expertise type of investment you made, where you want to see a stronger ROI through the email channel, specifically when it comes to your emails or your business's profitability. So let's just say when it comes to that investment, whatever it was, a email marketing director, talent, whatever, you want to see 30% of your company's revenue come from email this year because of whatever you put into investing into that email strategy or your email team, etc. So now factoring this, last year's email rev at 20% of that 50 million, that's $10 million in email revenue last year. The goal for this year, with 30% being the goal and a 15% increase in revenue, now you're looking at doing 17,250,000 in email revenue this year. So that's like the goal you're going to shoot for. Now, forecasting continued. Based on our goal that we want to do 17,250,000 this year, the next thing we want to do is we want to break down the percentage, basically the monthly percentage breakdown of email revenue last year. That way we can account for slower periods, unique things happening throughout the year, et cetera, because you're not going to it's very unlikely that you're going to hit so 1 month is 8.3% of the entire year, right? That's 100% divided by 12. You're not going to hit 8.3% each year, or I'm sorry, each month. That's just kind of unrealistic. It's going to be up and down. So this helps with our forecast though, because let's just state that, if we remember from last year's email revenue, we did 10 million in email rev, which is an average of 833,333.33 each month. But we know by looking at the percentage breakdown month by month, we actually did 15% of our email revenue in January, and then we did 10% in February, and then we did 8% in March, 12.5% in April, so on and so forth. Based on this, and we can also look at things a little bit more historically as well, like what we've seen. If January traditionally over the last decade has been a great month for us, and then March has been really slow, or so on, we'll apply these for our goals based on this upcoming year, or just when we're laying out the email calendar. So in this case, if we want to apply those same percentage variables, if our goal for this year is 17,250,000, our monthly breakdown or targets could look like this. January, at that 17.25 million mark, times 0.15, we'd get the number for that. And then for February, we take 10% of that. March, we'd forecast 8% of that. April, we would forecast 12.5% of that. And then so on and so forth. Now, other factors to consider when you're forecasting this and analyzing, what you did last year historically, percentage by month, so on and so forth, as well as your goals, your year-over-year growth. We also want to think about the actual marketing specifics too. Think about the sales creatives that performed on TikTok versus Facebook versus Google Ads versus organic. Think about the specific offers that you're planning on running. And if this is something that you haven't marketed to your email list yet, think about how well it's actually performing for people just in the audience, in your actual demographic to begin with. And by audience, I don't mean your actual email list. I just mean like people in general. Then you want to consider if it's a new launch or if it's a relaunch. If this is a product that you've launched in the past, or if this is something like brand new that you just came out with. If it's a relaunch, you want to think about what did this offer or a similar one do in the past? Was it a buy one, get one? Was it a subscribe and save? Like what is this specific offer and then how well did it do in the past? You also want to factor in what your list size is now versus then. Has your list gotten much bigger, right? So that will kind of influence when you get to rev per blast, rev per contact, that sort of thing. This will kind of influence into the analysis itself. And then you also want to look at what are we seeing on our ad creatives promoting this. Generally, this one here is more so for newer offers. So let's say you just launched a new course or something about a certain topic, like how to lose belly fat. And it's a new belly fat loss course. And you've launched belly fat loss courses in the past that are quite similar to this. You can kind of use that data, forecast a little bit on how well you think this offer is going to be itself as well. In addition to that, you also want to see like if you've already launched this offer to like the market, it just hasn't seen your email list. You also want to think about how well are the ads promoting this exact offer doing? Because if it's like something, if the ads are working at a similar way that the ads for the old belly fat loss course were doing, you kind of think, okay, like we can expect similar success when we launch this newer version to our email list. And then based on these projected versions with this, factor in total email traffic. What should this campaign do for us? If it's the exact same offer, you can account for a 10 to a 20% loss of what it did beforehand. So if we did buy one, get one of protein of the same exact protein flavor, whatever, same exact offer last year, and we want to do that again this year to our health list, factor in about a 10 to 20% less conversion rate if we're doing this exact same offer. Now we can still hit the same amount of total revenue if our list got bigger. So that's kind of like the interplay here when you're factoring in both list growth, rev per send, rev per contact, and then the actual offer itself. Because you can have a less conversion rate, but if the list is actually bigger itself, the less conversion rate will actually equal out into producing the same amount of money, perhaps even more money than you did with the same exact offer the year before. So now, next thing I want to do is actually to show you, we'll actually just forecast revenue like live for this right now. And I'll actually just use these variables here to make it a bit more easy. This is what we want to do this year. So January, 17.25 million. We don't want to do 15% of that. That means actually, in January, our goals here is we're looking to do 2,587,500. Last year's comparison, what was last year? Last year, if we look at that, we did 10 million, yet we did 15%. It's 1.5 mil. Nice. 1.5. Cool. All right. Now we basically lay out our offers here. So here we see we have the month, the promo dates, the offer itself, what we're forecasting for revenue, margins like profit if you're selling products or you're working with, speakers, experts, you have potential partnerships, rev shares, collaborations, anything that's going to take a percentage out of the top line revenue, that's where you're going to factor in margin, right? You're going to look at what's your actual like take home profit for this thing. Pretty much, we're going to think about what can we put here that's going to allow us to hit this number here in gross revenue. New year, new. BOGO flash sale, whatever that means. Buy one, get one flash sale. Spring into this new year. Okay. And so here, basically what we'll do is, let's just say we sent one of these, okay? So new year, we expect this to do 500,000, right? This is like the most popular thing we offer it every single year. Maybe last year, we look at the data from last year and this thing did whatever, 300,000 or something, whatever. And the gross rev, we would track this. Let's just say we sent this yesterday or something. So what we would do is after we sent this out, let's just say it's one today, the send cycle for this is 1-4. 4. I'm just giving an example here. So here we go and see like, okay, like how much money did it make yesterday? And let's say it made whatever. We made $300,000 in one email, which is insane, but kind of just using that as an example. The margin, whatever. It's a buy one, get one, so profits are actually probably going to be a little bit lower because we're giving away one for free. Whatever. And whatever our margin is. Okay, so actually, whoops. Maybe, you know, here we'd actually factor in like supply chain changes and stuff that could impact like our profitability on the same offer. So that's kind of why we just want to track what profit did we actually make when we sent this out. Let's just say it's the same for whatever reason. Say, as you can see though, like you'll pull this stuff from whatever analytics tool you have, whether it's Google Analytics, you're using Klaviyo Analytics, you're using Shopify data as well. And then if you sent it once, number of sends, gross rev percent. So here actually under gross rev percent is where you're just going to look at the total number of sends here. So let's just say it's 0 or whatever. That doesn't make sense. You sent it once and it did $300,000 yesterday, right? Now, the way you actually set up this formula is gross rev percent is going to be a mix of this total number here divided by this total number. So we're tracking it today. We sent it out yesterday, right? We're tracking it the next day after. So under gross rev, it's actually going to be D4 divided by K4 equals D4 divided by K4, right? And then same thing here. Margin is going to be F4 divided by K4 equals F4 divided by K4. Why is that higher? All right, I don't like that. That's weird. Margins usually lower. Whatever. Okay. See that? And then so let's say we send it tomorrow, we finish the campaign, and maybe the thing does whatever. Right, gross rev per contact. Here, actually rev per contact, you're just going to input your list size. So take 3.7. Let's just say, you know, here when you're sending to different list segments and whatnot, that's where you can get a gauge of what was the total sent amount based on this offer. D4. There we go. This one's F4 equals F4 divided by, perfect. All right. So the gross rev per contact is 802, margin per contact is that. Now, if we track this the next day after we've sent it again and we see, okay, like, wow, now our gross revenue is at 551,291. And profit is whatever, 391,000. So gross rev percent and margin, now we just have to update the total number of sends because it's a flash sale. And as we see, once we update that, see like gross rev per contact went up a lot. So here, you know, what we want to do is establish if we're doing like a smaller list send or what we want to track to hit these goals, whether that's a gross rev percent or a margin percent, that sort of thing. So for instance, if we plan to do a specific offer, I'll actually just get into the notes here. So here we kind of already touched on a little bit, like account for a 10 to 20% decline in conversions for the same offer if it's a relaunch. So let's just say 2020 fall launch of, this is a program I've launched before, Options Income Blueprint at $299.99 at 81,200 with a send volume to a list size of 54,371. Now, if you send to that same list size or segment at the same price point with the same number of total emails, then I would just take 20% off of that. That, in this case, you can account for the relaunch of this offer to 64,960. And if you were to relaunch at the same price point, that's if you're to relaunch at the same price point. New launches, we covered a little bit when we factor in like, okay, how well is the sales page performing? How well are the different ad creatives performing? That sort of thing. So you take your average sales or product page metrics, factor that into what conversions you can expect with similar creatives from paid ads, so on and so forth. Easy formula is to check for the sales or product page conversions from the past offer and then look at what your current conversions are for this new offer. So if they're similar, just use the average. For example, you have a 3% purchase rate from email traffic in the past from the previous offer. And then when you look at your ad creative for this newer product, in the page conversion from your advertising channel for this newer offer is converting at 2.8%. Just take the average between the both. So in this case, you'd expect a 2.9% conversion rate. Factor in the click rates. You're sending to a list of 50,000. You usually get around 2% click rates for these kinds of offers. Take 2% of that 50,000. So I hope this is like making sense how we kind of do the analysis and expect how things are going to convert and whatnot. In addition to that, look at click rates. Opens will go down throughout the campaigns, but you'll notice similar click rates with more revenue. These opens later on in the campaign come with a lot more buyer intent and higher click to sale rates. So that's why, again, we always track like rev per blast, rev per blast, and rev per contact, because opens and clicks just aren't an accurate predictor of like how much money this thing is going to make. Another thing, like, don't get discouraged if you are off base in your forecast, because that happens. But the more you track the data on your list, the more accurate your forecast will actually get. And you'll tend to see what kind of sales rates and conversions you get from email traffic. Now, some cases, like I've seen some lists get consistent 15K rev per blast, and then that's used as the KPI throughout the whole campaign. So it's like, all right, we sent out an email and it didn't do $15,000. Like, that's underperforming. If it does that again, chances are we want to kind of speculate like how much less than 15,000 did this thing do? Was it at like 14,000, 13,000? And then how many campaigns did we have total? Was it like we have a free email campaign in the plan, and then we sent out one that did 50,000, 15,000, and then another one, email 2, did like 13,500. So it's a little less, but then the third email is going to be the last chance urgency email, which we know that majority of sales and campaigns happen towards the end when there's a deadline, like last chance. So we'll probably just keep it on the calendar at that point, because we know that that next send with higher urgency is probably going to equal out anyways. Now, once you kind of know, based on what the list size is that you're sending to, as well as the conversion rates, how well these offers did in the past or similar offers, if it's a new launch, relaunch, whatever, you can decide if you want to track the rev per blast or the rev per recipient as a KPI for this thing. And then with margin, account for margin on products, discount percentages, royalties or commissions, rev share deals, affiliates, whatever it is that takes a chunk off of the top line revenue, factor that in, so then you can be certain on the actual profitability of this. Boom, cowabunga. And then we sent this once, right? So now you can see this is how much it did yesterday. So now let's just say it's damn it, the date didn't update. All right, 15 to what did I say, 29. Options income. All right, so now let's just say we check this on 116. Now we're going to check this on 117, and we notice it went up like a little bit too. So now it's whatever, it's at 12,000, and this is at 10,000. So now we can kind of see like, oh, like our gross rev percent and our margin percent, our rev per contact, margin per contact, like these things actually went up, a few days after. So now we can kind of see like if something didn't do well on one send, we give it time before the next send to make a decision on if we'll continue the campaign. Because sometimes, a few days after, that revenue will keep climbing up. Now that we kind of know, like, okay, here's what we're forecasted, here's where it becomes like important, when you're laying out your email calendar throughout the year, you want to make sure you're putting in stuff that has worked in the past. Now, if you have data, like you have a full year of a spreadsheet like this, or at least you have access to this data in your Google Analytics, your Shopify store, that you can kind of cut and paste and look at how well things did in the past, it gets very easy to fill in your calendar like this, whether you use a Google Calendar or whatever. because now you know, like, okay, I'm not just like throwing Hail Marys and putting random shit in the calendar that I don't even know is going to work. I'm actually leveraging data based on what has made us a lot of money in the past. So that way I know the stuff I actually put on the calendar is actually going to contribute towards us growing our email revenue year over year, month over month, whatever. Cool. So here we can kind of get like the idea of, how we can keep track of what our revenue goals are for this specific offer, how we can keep track of that each day when we do our reporting on our email performance. And we can track, what we should be at in terms of rev per send on average and rev per contact. If you don't track this stuff with this amount of financial rigor, eventually you'll notice, like, if you make a lot of money through email, like, chances are, and you're a big company, like, you rely on email to pay people's paychecks. Like, people, your employees, like, do not get paid if you decide to screw around on the email channel, if email is a big revenue driver for you. So when it comes to that, and especially like if you're expecting rev per sends of 30,000 and you decide to send something that just completely bombs and then you keep sending it, let's say you send something that does 5,000 when you were expecting it to do 30,000, and that's what you forecasted, and basically you're depending on this offer to do that well, but you keep sending something that's not doing that well instead of replacing it with something else that is going to at least make up that revenue. Now you can see, like, continuing to send offers that don't work and not track this data gets very, very expensive. In the case of sending something that you forecasted, right? You're forecasting this revenue. You're kind of expecting to make this revenue throughout the year so you can pay your staff, so you can reach your year over year growth goals of the business. And you send out this offer, expect it to do 30,000, and it does 5,000, and then you send it again and it does 5,000 again. You were expecting to be at 60,000 at this point, and you've only done 10,000. And so doing this, you've costed yourself 50,000. Like, this is a $50,000 mistake. So you can only imagine that's just like doing this in one instance. But that's why you have to kind of be a little bit of an accountant in your spreadsheet for tracking email, because like this stuff can be very costly. So making mistakes like this and sending shit that doesn't work eventually gets very expensive and costs you like $50,000.
So I hope that training was valuable for you guys, and you now feel like you have a step-by-step plan to make more money with email marketing. Of course, some of these strategies and tools will vary depending on your industry, your style of emails that you tend to put out. If you'd like to see more in-depth trainings like this, as far as what kind of emails to send, what types of emails make the most money, click subscribe for more trainings like this.